shit. That's where the most high, we the most lit.
Hey, what up?
Hey, what's up, fellas? And everybody else in the chat. In the chat. Butterflies. You like butterflies, Bogey?
Man, shit. Every time I step out the house.
These beautiful creatures, man. Beautiful.
You know
I like moths too. Moths. What's the difference between a moth and a butterfly, man?
One likes to rock at night.
I don't know. I'm asking you for real, Alex.
I have no idea. One's colored and one's not. One's annoying and one's not. Maybe.
One is blindly dedicated to the flame. Right.
What's going on there? I hear some crashing.
My little man just came through causing a ruckus.
Oh, I thought that was Alex's stuff. Well, how's my camera doing with this computer? I don't know.
Yeah, but so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna change it up the format a little bit here. We're gonna start doing this in 3 acts, just like a movie. And we're going to start with the first act where we talk a little bit about the movie, the background of the movie, give a little bit of some intro thoughts. And then Act 2, talk about the movie. And then number 3, we'll give, we'll wind it down. And so go follow the podcast. We're going to have it broken down into three different podcasts per week now.
And I'll be in here. I'll be back for like the second act. I'm gonna go pick up this food real quick, but you know what I'm saying? I thought I had a little more time than I did. You know what I mean?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Peace out. And whoever's on Facebook here says the Butterfly Effect has to be in my top 5 movies. Definitely my favorite Ashton Kutcher movie. Yeah, and so you didn't see this one before we did this, right, Nelly?
Nope, never even heard of it. Don't recall it. No.
2004. Ashton Kutcher. I mean, this is right after the time of Punk'd. This is he did Dude, Where's My Car a couple years before that, and then he started getting into the rom-coms with which one was it? I think something about Vegas. I can't even remember which one came before this, but this kind of put him on the map. I was pleasantly surprised then, and even watching it now, it still holds up to date.
No, it was good. It was good. We'll get into it, but yeah, I was impressed, but I had no idea what it was about, so I didn't know what I was looking for. But as far as I know, who Ashton Kutcher is, of course. And I've never really seen his acting. I saw Punk'd quite a few times, and it's funny because I knew of him before that, but I can't really. Oh yeah, was he on what show was he on? What sitcom?
That 70s show.
That 70s show, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember him from that, and then that's it. And then I saw him on Punk'd. I never really saw any of his movies or anything.
Yeah, and I mean, most of them. I mean, they're all kind of the same. Those those rom-coms. But see, Facebook user said that after that 70s show, yep, pretty much after that 70s show ended, he got into some different stuff, and this was one of the first ones. It was him, Amy Smart, Eric Stoltz. We were talking about him on Back to the Future, how he got the old Hevo. Off of Back to the Future. He always plays some crazy characters, and in here, of course, he's a crazy character playing the pedophile father.
Yeah, I know, huh?
Not the type of character you want to be typecasted as, but
no, not at all. Not at all.
He played the role well, and we all hate him for it, but he's just an actor, so it is what it is. You got to have these crazy roles in some of these movies.
And I'll give him this too, as far as what you saw of that character. You didn't see all that much. It didn't get too crazy, which was good.
Yeah, and I mean the actual screen time that he has, he didn't have that much screen time either.
Yeah, to get too weird with his persona, the character was playing,
Yeah, and before we jump into the movie, how about just the box office numbers? They never lie. So the budget of the movie, 13 mil, but it almost brings in 100 mil in the box office, 96.8 mil. So a lot of people went out to see it, and I know it. Say that again.
That's more money, more revenue than I thought it garnered.
Yeah, for sure. And people came out to see it. I know Amy Smart. She was. She had her little. Her little stint of being popular, in Hollywood. Didn't really last super long, but
I don't remember her.
No, I mean,
Don't.
but yeah, what other movie was she in? She was in Road Trip. I think that was the first one. You know, she was kind of in these rom-coms and
Uh,
college movies and things like that. And I guess this, I mean, they had college in here in, you know, in a little spurt. On Rotten Tomatoes, Butterfly Effect got an 81% audience score as well. So a lot of
Rotten
people like this
Tomatoes.
movie. And yeah, when we even talked about it, you wanted to do a science fiction movie. And so that's, we were talking about this kind of around the same time. And so that's what made me, I don't know if this is a science fiction movie. I guess it's more of, what would you say it is? A thriller, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say part thriller, but that's not. It's not a full thriller. It was kind of a like a mind-bending thriller.
Yeah.
A touch of science fiction, but yeah, science fiction. You think more of outer space, so maybe like suspense, I guess.
Okay, there we go. Bakeslot said the ranch was good. Okay, and then he makes a cameo in that 90s show. Yeah, I never watched that 90s show. Never got into the ranch either. Oh, there you go. It was Just Married with Tara Reid. And he said,
Oh
who is
yeah, I
it?
remember Terry Eden just married. Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. And
he's a
Married My
mom.
Boss's Daughter with Bernie Mac. Okay, yeah, that was, what was that? Guess Who with Bernie Mac, right? That was a good one. All
He's
right,
a
Bernie
butterfly.
Mac. So let's just jump into it. I mean, the movie jumps off. I mean,
Alex, hey, hold on one quick. That
okay.
light behind me, is that messing with you? It looks kind of really bright on this screen because I'm using this laptop, which I don't normally use, obviously.
It's not too bad. It's
But
just like one corner of the screen. We're all right.
okay, it's not because with my desktop and other broadcasts we've done, you don't really see it. So I'm looking at it, just looks kind of odd, just making sure that you're okay with it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I can turn that light off.
yeah, you're good. Yeah,
Okay, we're good.
there you go. Brittany
Thank you.
Murphy. Yep, classic. Her and Ashton. There we go. Said, oh hell yeah, I knew you guys would do this movie. Yeah, we were talking about it, and yeah, we had to mix it in. And yeah, this movie, it doesn't really set up a story, too much. Like, I mean, if you have no idea what the movie's about, I mean, it kind of just, it starts, and then the kid Ashton Kutcher. So he's like, they have a couple different ages of him. Evan Treborn.
3, yeah.
Yeah, it's
There's
crazy.
3
So Evan
3
Treborn.
pictures.
If you look at it spelled out, it's almost like Event Reborn. If you take the T off of his last name and move it to his first name, Evan, it's
Oh,
Event
yeah?
Reborn. Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
real trippy. And
Interesting tidbit.
yeah, and pretty. It's just a bunch of like fucked up shit that like happens to all these kids. That's like the only way that I can really say it. We have no idea the relationship between the kid Evan and his mom. All we know is that she drops him off at school, and then like you see the picture that he drew where it's like him with a knife
The
and
knife, yeah. Ooh.
saying that he forgot it, and so that's kind of like the first kind of inkling, like, oh no, he forgot it. Like that's what like is wrong with his dad. And then you go to Amy Smart, Kaylee's house. Evan Stoltz is the dad there, and then yeah, kind of just like all spirals from there. Like they get a camera, and the girl Kaylee's all happy, we're gonna be in a movie, and
Yeah.
yeah, it takes a real dark turn where he blacks out. So we have no idea what these blackouts are necessarily, but says we're gonna be in a movie. And the dad's like, you got to keep this, a big secret. And he's like, okay. And then you just see a big cut to where they're now in the basement. And he's like, where are my clothes? What's going on? So as adults, we kind of have an idea what's going on, but we have no real idea of what actually happened there. And he can't even put two and two together at first.
Man, that was a good breakdown because it got kind of sketchy with how kind of bounce back with timelines and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, how'd that happen so quick? And when you watch the whole movie, you see how it ties together. They're really masterful of how they did that. I was a
Yeah.
little confused that they kind of reveal a couple of things, kind of like not quite, but what was that? Memento. It
Okay.
went backwards.
Yeah.
Now it wasn't quite that extreme, but it had that some elements of that. They showed you a couple of things that you're going to see later on
Yeah.
in the film, and then it makes sense when you see it like an hour and a half later.
Yeah, that something bad happened. And I mean, we can kind of put two and two together with the video camera and then his clothes being off and stuff. But yeah, you really have no idea what's going on. And all that ends like really, all that ends really quick. The mom takes him to the I mean, it's really the mental hospital, right? Like that's the only thing
Yeah.
that we know about. It's a mental institution, and he gets some tests done on him because of the blacking out stuff, his blackout sessions or whatever we want to call it. And then you kind of reveal, like, oh, is this? Tell me it's not the same thing as his dad. So we have no idea who his dad is or where he is, but we know he's got some issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We soon do see who his dad is in the first 5 minutes, right?
yeah, what do you think about that? So he goes to
Yeah,
visit
that was
the
shocking, actually. Okay, I'll let you explain the
well,
setup.
the doctor says, well, maybe he's coping with some stress of not knowing his dad. So then they set up a whole meet and greet with his dad at the mental hospital, and he's like on the way, really excited. Then
With his mom, yeah.
he goes in and they're like talking to each other, and he's like, "Mom says I have your smile in your hair."
Oh,
And
and he was sedated. Remember, they said he was sedated.
yeah,
Oh, so I'm thinking as watching it. Oh, he's sedated. Okay, nothing's really going to happen. The guy's sedated, but come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, and then we get another one of those cut scenes where it's like literally them talking, and then it cuts to you don't know how long later, but they're like on the ground and he's choking
He's
them.
choking him. I tell you what got me is that I can't remember what the boy said, but I remember the father when he said, he goes, "You have to die."
Yeah, he must die.
But what the boy said was it was really calm and just like, "Hey, what's your favorite color? You got that, you must die." Right? Do you remember the line?
Pretty much, yeah. It was Mom says I have your smile and
No,
your
that's what it was.
hair.
I have your smile. Yeah, I have your smile. You must die. It's like, whoa. And that was
Yeah,
kind of the thriller part of it, right?
we have no idea like why or anything, and then we hear just it must end with me, and and that's it. And they Billy club him across the head, and he freaking dies.
And he dies with all the blood coming out of his head.
Yeah, and so just
Man.
one traumatic thing after another in maybe like a couple days span, and then it cuts forward to them 7 years later. So I think he was 7 in the first one, six
Yeah.
or 7 years later. So they're
And,
teenagers there.
and then he went to 13. It was 6, I remember. He
Okay,
went to 13 years old. So he
yeah,
was 7 plus 6. And then it
yep,
went was it um was he 21?
yeah. So I think it was 6 years, and then and then I believe
9. It was
something
6
like
years
that.
then 9, right?
Yeah, so he jumps from pretty much
To
elementary
22.
school to junior high to
For
then
8
like
years.
college.
Yeah, maybe it was 8 years, I don't know. Around there, yeah.
And again, it cuts. We have no idea what's going on. They're in the exact same basement where all the trauma happened, when they were kids. But now they're
Yeah.
older, they're smoking. Tommy, we didn't really get too much of an intro to him yet, but yeah, he's looking around for something all frantic, kind of talking shit. And then they find this big I mean, they call it a blockbuster. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that the firework.
it looks like I mean, yeah, you say a firework. It looked like a stick of dynamite. Like
Yeah, it did.
fire.
Yeah.
I've never seen a firework just look like a straight stick of dynamite. Maybe like small ones that blow up, but this one is freaking huge.
Yeah, it's a Cuban. The Cuban of all dynamites, right? It's cigars.
Yeah. Oh man,
Oh,
just 0 to 60 in this movie. Like we have no idea what's gonna happen, but Tommy's like, let's blow the shit out of something, and then they go. It's one of those goofy mailboxes that's like made exactly like the houses. Have you ever seen any of those in some of the areas of LA?
those sorry, the last thing you said?
They had the mailbox that was like the
Oh, the
exact
mailbox.
the
Yeah,
exact
yeah, yeah.
replica of the house.
No, I haven't seen that. But I've seen mailbox out like on the lawn like that. But no,
Yeah,
not the exact replica. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
yeah. And again, we have no idea what's happening. They make Lenny do it. So Lenny's like he's kind of like the scapegoat of a lot of things. He's the fat kid that gets
Yeah,
talked shit to.
he's the chubby checker of the group that gets picked
Exactly.
on and gets told to do this, do that, to dare to do this, and he kind of wants. He doesn't want to do it, but to fit in. That's the reward he gets.
And I think this is just like small town living, right? Like, I mean, we don't know much about the town, but you end up hearing like a little bit later that it is kind of a small town. And I guess in those small towns, it's like you get in your circle of friends and you might just stick there forever, like whether you feel like an outcast within that group or not. So yeah, it's really weird. So Tommy tells Lenny, "Oh, you're gonna do it. Any of us do it, you're pussing out for sure. Like you're gonna be the one to do it." And then, man,
Yeah.
Evan, being the good friend that he is, wants to make sure that Lenny doesn't blow up. So he puts a cigarette on the what's it called, on the
On the
whatever,
mailbox.
on the what?
On the mailbox.
Well, on the what, like lighting the igniter or whatever. I don't know why I'm spacing.
Oh, on the stick.
Yeah.
On the wick.
There you go. Yeah,
The wick,
yeah, the
yeah.
wick. There you go. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Nelson. I could not fucking think of what that was called. Yeah, and then I put the cigarette on. This should give you 2 minutes at least. And he goes and he puts it in the mailbox. And now, since they have time, they're all just sitting there watching, from afar, like kind of in the bushes. And then we get another cutscene. So we have no idea what happened. We didn't see anything blow up, and then they're just randomly in the woods. And he's like, "What the hell's going on now?"
Yeah, and then the fat kid, Lenny. Yeah, Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny.
He
What up, Antonio?
he's in shock. I'm thinking, why is he in shock? This is what I'm thinking when watching that up until this point. Why is he in shock and the rest of them aren't? I mean, it just blew up. It's the mailbox.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't just the mailbox though.
Yeah.
So he was frozen. So I wasn't really buying that at first. I was like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then as things get revealed where, it makes sense. All right.
And it's because we're seeing everything from Ashton Kutcher's perspective, or at least Evan Treborn's perspective. So yeah, we have no idea what's happening during the blackouts, and like when they finally make it like back to the house. I think they make it to Lenny's house. Like everyone, they're all crying and they don't know what the hell's going on. And his mom is trying to figure out what happened, and he said he blacked it out. And
And his mom asked, well, are you lying? Are you telling the truth? Because he's had blackouts before, right? So
yeah. It's been years, because the only blackouts that he had, I believe, are the ones that we see in the movie. So it's like when he was 7, he has a couple blackouts. Then when he's 13, has a couple. And we still have no idea what's going on, except for that Lenny is in the back of an ambulance. And these guys go out to the movies. Like, I have no idea why, but you can tell something's wrong. And Tommy's just being an asshole. Kaylee's all fucking shook, and like Evan's still trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And
he was a good asshole too, I'll tell you that.
We get introduced to how much of an asshole he is when he comes out of the movie. Like Kaylee and Evan leave the movie theater, and he comes out and he's like, "What?" He sees them kissing. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then some random guy, I don't even know who it is, eating popcorn. What the fuck are you doing? And then he trips him.
He trips him. Yeah, it was an older teenager, right?
He was probably like a high schooler. That's what I see. Someone in high school being an asshole. And you don't really know what's going to happen. Like the camera's just panning on Tommy. He's getting up super slow. And then he picks up one of the, I don't know what is one of
some pipe or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like one of the things that ropes off, the concession stands and all that. Hits him right in the face, and he's just like punching him until he's out on the ground, and then he gets taken away by the security guards.
Yeah, and Tommy was a little dude too.
Yeah.
Now, was Tommy I thought he was the older brother at first, but was he the younger brother?
So I think he's the older brother. I don't know how much, because they seem like they're super close in age.
Right, but it's just that his size, because he ended up being shorter than his sister. So I'm thinking he was older, right? Then, like around that time with the movie theater and stuff, like he's really short. He's shorter than his sister. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe he is younger. But it seemed like he was older though before. Maybe he just had stunted growth, I guess, or something, right?
Well, I guess it just seemed like they were the same size when we meet them as 7-year-olds or whatever. Seems like they're the same size and super close in age. So, yeah, I mean, we have no idea who's older or not, but it seems like Tommy is the older one. And then we just know he's snapped, and that's the start of what we know about Tommy. And then this is really, I mean, it's really when they're 7 and 13, that's building up the entire story, like for the movie. And then Evan has one more blackout. They go get Lenny. Lenny was in the mental hospital, and like,
oh yeah,
how dark, man, right? We have no idea what's going on, but he's just like totally tripped out and frozen. They take him to the mental hospital, and he's like, he can't even sleep. Like everyone's screaming all night. couldn't even imagine like being a kid, and we don't even know what traumatic experience he had. We just know he saw something that made him freak the fuck out. And
Yeah, and that's when you start to wonder what happened.
yeah, and then then what happens after that? So they go see Lenny, Kaylee, and Evan. Then they start walking around, and then here's where the last blackout happens. They're just, I don't know where the hell they're walking, but it's almost like they're through some junkyard or something. And someone's like, "What's that
Yeah,
smoke?" And they run over there, and it's a big fire that Tommy's built, and you see him like shoving
the
Evan's
dog.
dog into a fucking burlap sack. Like, what is about to happen here? Starts spraying him with gas.
Yeah, he ignites it. Well, he throws it, then oh yeah, this one version, of course, and then he does ignite it.
Yeah, and yeah, what happens? Evan's like, "What the hell are you doing?" He runs up, and then Tommy takes like some 2x4 or something and swings it, but then
Whacks him.
hits his sister. Doesn't even hit Evan, hits his
Oh
sister.
wow, yeah, wax her, yeah.
And then Tommy, like, man, I don't know what this kid's just got multiple screws loose. Look what you made me do, because he avoided the fucking 2x4 to the face. It was Evan's fault why he
Hits
hit
his
it.
own sister.
Yeah, and then so what does he do? He kicks him or hits him or something, and then you see Evan. He just rushes him, and then he blacks out again, and that's all we see right then. And we see him like pretty much all fucked up, like on the ground, not moving. Look like he's got the shit beat out of him. Face, blood all over his face, and then he gets up, sees Kaylee, and she's crying, and then pans to the dog that you can tell it was ignited by Tommy.
Yeah, it was a sad moment
And
for
Lenny's
sure.
just right there, like, what, just in shock again from this happening, just standing there frozen, watching.
Yeah, again, yeah, that guy went through it rough.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many traumatic things like back to back, and then yeah, and that was kind of that was pretty much the end of their 13-year-old run. But right before it cuts to him being an adult, we get a little bit of an insight on what actually happened. It's super, super short, but the mom is like watching like TV, and it's like a news
A
story.
news report, yeah.
Yeah, and so we don't know, like we hear about, I can't even remember exactly what it says, but we hear like, oh, this is something that shocked a little neighborhood, and nothing as tragic as this has like ever happened. And it sounded like somebody died, is the way that they were wording it. And the mom had to have known that it was them, like who was a part of it. And she was like, right after the movie, she drops Kaylee off, and then they're alone in the car, and she's like, "We're moving," just like that. We're
Yeah,
getting
just
the
like
hell out of
that.
here.
Then
Mom was smart though; she didn't want to be a part of any of that. Whatever could have came down on them.
yeah, then to show them going away, she went to did she watch them drive away?
Yeah, so she like runs
She
up to
was?
the U-Haul as they're going,
Yeah,
and
right.
then he writes down, "I'll come back for you,"
Yeah,
but
that was it. Yeah, that was sad.
he never does. He
He
never
never did.
does. And then
Well, not in that version anyway, right?
yeah, we'll get into that one first. And yeah, so there's multiple what we call multiple timelines of the things that actually happen because the butterfly effect is him somehow going backwards and recalling these blackouts.
Alex, let
And
me back. I need to grab a tissue, man.
okay, yeah, it's the butterfly effect because it's him going backwards in time somehow to these blackouts and then actually changing what is going on. Like that's where it gets like real trippy. It starts off with him in college. We have no idea what the heck is going on, with him now, other than he's in a class, he's writing, and then pencils down, and then he goes and he talks to the teacher and everything. Then he goes back to his dorm room, and you see it's Frankie the Enforcer from Boy Meets World, who is his roommate. And hey,
That's where he's
Christy,
from. Oh, I recognize him, but I couldn't think where's he from?
yeah,
For a second I thought it was Lenny. He just got bigger.
yeah, kind of right.
Yeah, because I was getting a little messed up with these different timelines and stuff. I go, okay, we're on a different one, and you gain even more weight.
Yep. And
Thought I was on
Crispy,
that.
thanks for supporting the channel. He gifted a 420 crew membership on YouTube. You the man, Crispy.
Thanks, Crispy.
Yeah, and so he's really excited because 7 years no blackout. So I mean, he hasn't had a blackout since the crazy blackouts that we saw like right
Right.
before that. So they go out partying and stuff, and you can just see like yeah, they're not amongst the cool crowd. They're making it seem like the frat boys. That's the cool crowd and everything. And Evan's not a part of it at all.
Well,
And
actually, wasn't the first when we see what was that big guy's name again? Boy from
Ethan
Boy Meets World.
Suplee in real life, yeah.
Yeah, he was having sex
Thumper
when
in the movie, yeah,
he was
classic.
having sex. He walked in on him, right? In the dorm
Yeah,
room.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
pretty like he most of his screen time is him having sex.
Yeah, he's getting it in
Yeah.
with these punk rockers or whoever they were.
Yeah, when they come home, when they come back to the dorm, well, it's actually just Evan and whatever chick he was with comes back to the dorm. She opens the door and is like, "Wow, it smells like sex in here." And Ashton Kutcher's like, "Yeah, Thumper had a busy afternoon." Maybe that's why, right? Maybe that's why it's Thumper. He's like rabbits, likes to fuck a lot.
Yeah.
And Marty said, "Did I miss something, or who is Thumper?" Yeah, so that's Frankie, Frankie the Enforcer from Boy Meets World. He was his roommate in his first and his third life. How about that? First and third life. And but yeah,
First
he's
and third? First and third.
yeah, because the second one. Well, we'll get into all that. We'll get into it. But yeah, he was there for like half of Evan's lives. How about that? And so I don't know, like what would possess. So they get back to the room. It's Evan and his date, and he's like, "You want a beer?" And she sits down on the bed, and then she like reaches under his bed, and she was like, "Oh, you have any scented candles or incense or something?" I don't know, what she was looking for, but then she finds somehow his big box of all his composition journals and
Oh yeah.
all the shit that he was like writing forever, and she's like, "Yeah, why don't you read me?"
Diaries.
Yeah, I thought it
Yeah.
was poetry or something, I guess. She's like, "Why don't you read me something?"
Well, he was on that date.
Yeah, and then like, yeah,
Oh
of course,
man.
like he randomly picks like, the most recent traumatic experience that we saw. And yeah, starts reading about it where the dog, gets all burnt up. And yeah, it's like he
It
passes
triggers
out.
another yeah, it triggers another memory.
It's like he
And
passes out, but he goes back and he's seeing all the things that happened during when he was blacked out.
then boom, he hits another he hits another time slip, right?
Yeah.
He gets coded. Then you start catching on like how he can induce it later.
Yeah, well, he's super confused because he didn't know if it was a dream or not, and so
Because
when
he
he
figures out later how to trigger it.
yeah, he reached out to Lenny because he's trying to figure out like what actually happened. Was this just a dream or was this true? And he goes back to see Lenny, and Lenny's like, you could just tell like he's like a little kid, like trapped in an adult's body, like doesn't leave his room. All he does is build these model airplanes and stuff. And then he starts making references to things that like so
Well,
when
what
Ashton
happened?
Kutcher goes into the blackout,
Yeah.
Tommy, he's like, drop it or I'll kill your mother, I'll slit your mother's throat in her sleep. And that was something that he didn't remember from when he was a kid. He only saw it in his what he thought was a dream. And then Lenny screams it. He was like, I'll slit your mother's throat in your sleep.
But
And
he's
that
thinking
just
he's talking about his mother, not the fact that he's recalling what
yeah,
happened, what was said, what Tommy said to him.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
And
then
we know that as watching the show, of course, but um Kushner's character does not.
he hears that and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
Evan, yeah.
yeah, he's like, "Oh shit!" Like, I mean, he doesn't say it, but like you can see the look on his face. He's like putting two and two together, like this shit really happened. Like, because he didn't remember that was the part that he blacked out, but now he's recalling what happened during this blackout. Super tripped out, and then so like trying to figure out more stuff. I mean, Lenny was all, they told him not to call. Like, you really riled him up when he tried to call back and go back, and he Evan goes and reads another passage, goes and reads another one of the blackouts, and then this time it was them smoking right when they were doing the right when they put the blockbuster dynamite inside of the what's called the mailbox, and he drops a cigarette and it hits him right on the stomach and just like burns his stomach, And when he wakes up, he's got like a scar there from it.
Yeah, so then for the next pretty much, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, he's trying to figure out where like how that happened. For real, without, whether it was a dream or not.
Yeah, because he's like super tripped out like about everything now at this point. Crazy scar came out of nowhere and like, can I change the past? And for whatever reason, then he wants to go see Kaylee. For whatever reason, I don't know why, if he was going to, go back and save her, why he never went back before this. But he goes back, sees her and, at work, and she's working in some shitty diner, just a real townie is what I assume by seeing her still in the small town, never able to get out. And then she starts asking he starts asking her all these questions about the Robin Hood day. And we have no idea what really happened there. We have a good idea of it, but we don't know specifically. But she freaks out. She freaks out. Like, this is what you come all the way back here to stir up my shit and ask me about Robin Hood. Probably one of the most traumatic experiences of her life.
Yeah. And she yelled at him saying that you never came back for me.
Yeah.
Once.
Why'd you just leave me here?
Yeah.
What up, Marco? And so then it cuts to Thumper. He's smoking weed. We usually see a lot of bullshit bongs in these movies, but he was actually smoking like a real big like glass bong.
Oh,
I was really impressed.
I saw that, man. You're a bong connoisseur, so
yeah, we gotta
put that past you.
Because we see, there's a lot of these movies where they just have, the bullshit plastic bongs and all that. And I know those are out there, but, especially for like a college kid, like, yeah, you'd be figuring out how to have, a nice bong in your room. And what's his name? Thumper is like, you got a message, and it's Tommy. And he's like, what'd you say to my sister, motherfucker? Like, she cried on the phone for hours and then she killed herself.
That sounds like a dream. That had to be a dream. There's no way that was real because you just read into it. She just killed herself. Like, what?
That was like the start of all this traumatic shit in her life and their life pretty much. But Evan couldn't remember anything. And so then then it's his mission. He brings out that paper, goes to her funeral, and like he's hiding though. He doesn't want the dad or Tommy or anything to see. Then after everyone leaves, he throws the paper, in there. I'll come back for you. And now it's his mission to figure out, if he can create scars, can he heal them as well? Was the quote that he said.
Oh, and that's when he starts inducing it.
Yeah.
He starts going to these different lands of dream states. Pretty cool.
I think this is a good part to end the first act for the show.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up act number 1, and all the podcasts come out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Silver Screen Breakdowns on Apple, on Spotify, every podcast platform out there.
Yep.
So we'll see you guys for act 2. Peace out.
Peace.
Picture shit. This ain't a dream, we really live this shit. Don't intervene, yo, we with this shit. That's where the most high, we the most lit.